Dutch people, Nederlanders, come to the front. I have a quick question, right? Why do some Dutch people feel the need to ask Africans the dumbest questions ever? No, but like why? This shit is so exhausting. You say something like, ik kom uit Gambia, and they will be like, oh wat leuk, mijn buurvrouw gaat tandarts, heeft een andere buurvrouw die uit Kenia komt. Okay. Or they'll ask you, spreek je Afrikaans? I don't know if you know this, Anouk, but Afrikaans wordt alleen maar gesproken in Zuid-Afrika. Or they'll do that thing where they think you know every African. They'll be like, oh, in de andere straat ken ik nog een Afrikaanse vrouw die uit Senegal komt. Misschien ken je haar. And it's like, there's 54 countries with a lot of people. I don't know her. One time someone even asked me, who is the president of Africa? Honey, it's not a country, it's a continent. Oh, don't get me started in the, hebben jullie een huis daar? Of heb je een leeuw? Some of you really need to travel and it shows. It's 2021, cut it.
So this is why they say traveling is actually part of education. And it actually means that a lot of Netherlands, Dutch people, basically, if I would say, is that they have actually never traveled, a lot of them. And I feel a lot of them should be traveling because they're staying indoors, basically. They're actually staying indoors. Traveling is actually reducing your education. It's not about you going to school. And, a lot of people feel like it's all, if you go to school, it's all about education. Going to school is not really all about education. It's not about plus and minus and times or whatever they do. That is not just education. Traveling is also part of education. And if you're not traveling, it means you're actually dull at the end of the day, because you can't just make an assumption. Like, for instance, make an assumption saying Chinese people fly just because you watch some kind of films or something like that, or Kenyans, or you went to a jungle to go and see animals. So your perception of Kenyans is, maybe in Kenya, is that Kenyans live in the bushes or the wild because you went to see lions and stuff. That perception is being given to you by the media, by schools who don't want to teach you your history. I go to school in Netherlands and I don't learn history in school because they don't want you to know this history. They want to keep pushing the false narrative to the people so that they'll keep learning nonsense. Now, she came out, she's a model. And for me, someone talked about this on Facebook. Someone said, oh, she's racist and stuff. She's not talking about racism. What she's talking about is a false narrative that's been pushed. Africa has also their own false narrative. Their false narrative is whenever they come to the Europe or America or maybe Asian, something like that, they are going to become rich. That is a false narrative. They got a lot of false narrative, basically. They also got their own false narrative. Now, this is Netherlands, Dutch narrative or Europe narrative. The Netherlands, they have not traveled. A lot of them have not traveled. And if you're not traveling, I've been to like 20 countries, and I can tell you for a fact, just because I went to 20 countries still doesn't mean I know a lot about those countries. I probably know 5%. And it's basically not enough to know about a country. So this is actually a false narrative. Saying someone, someone live on trees, I mean, because he or she came from Africa, or my parents, my family never live in trees, and I don't know anyone in Africa, in Nigeria, for example. Maybe I don't know about other African country, but I don't know anyone in Nigeria, for example, that live in trees. And I feel, and there's also this misconception that they also bring, is that they will say, because you come from Africa, basically Nigeria. Let's say I come from Nigeria, basically, and then they have this misconception of you come from a war zone. Now, my mom, I have not experienced war before my whole life. My mom has not experienced war. My grandma has not experienced war. My grandpa has not experienced war. My great grandma has not even experienced war, even. I don't think so. But your great grandfathers have experienced war. You know, Nazis, Hitler. We're talking about 100 years. But between 100 years, some of, I think also the misconception they also have about Africa is basically maybe 200 years ago or 100 years ago. They have that video of how African used to be. But then I feel a lot of them still do not understand Africa's struggle. They don't understand that Africa has corruption. That is a different. You see, this is one of the thing. This is one of the thing media. This is one of the false narrative media are pushing. They are pushing the false narrative to them. They don't understand it. They don't travel, so they don't know. They are not educated. Just because you know how to plus and times and in school doesn't mean you are educated. You're actually a dumbass. And to be fair, and if you tell this to any Netherlands person, they are very arrogant, lots of them, and very proud, and a lot of them don't want to learn about this. And it's very important. It doesn't matter where you're from, even if you're from Africa, you're from Europe, you're from America or something. It's very important that you learn. Travel to places, educate yourself. If you don't want to travel to places, you have computer. You can do researches. You can't just say things when you don't actually know. You can say, for example, that um you know a plane is like a spaceship. It flies like a spaceship. No, it doesn't, bro. Come on now. That is ridiculous, bro. That's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. Now it can be. So this obviously one of the false narrative they actually push the media. Schools don't want to teach you history. Of course they won't. One of the dumbest history I learned in Nigeria was the first woman to drive a car. I was like, what the fuck is this dumb shit? What the hell? Am I gonna learn this shit? I'm like, that's so ridiculous. Am I going the first woman to drive a car? Can you believe this bullshit? And that obviously this is it. This is one of the false narrative. And then we have it around the whole world. And people don't really know this. And it's very important. It's not about where you're from. It's about you not actually knowing that shit. If you don't know, you can't just say things. If you don't know, just keep quiet. Don't say a word. Because it at the end of the day it kind of makes you degrade your education, how educated you are. People who've asked me these questions are probably people from the 40s. They are very grown. They ask me stupid question. Do you speak African? I'm like Nigerian. I'm a Nigerian speak African. I'm like, come on now, you are so grown, man. Come on now, you should know this. You're 40 years old. You should be grown. You are grown. You should know this. Come on now. And if you don't know, don't just say things. I can't just go to Italy and say, oh yeah, do you guys speak European? I mean, that's ridiculous. Come on. And obviously, she's right. She said there are things you should know. And I feel she's basically very right. Things you should actually know. These are one of the things. You travel to places. Don't be a dumbass. Stop asking weird questions. I just want to talk about random things and stop asking weird question of do you speak African? I'm from Africa and you from Africa? Are you from Nigerian? Oh, I know someone from Ghana. Like that's some bullshit. That's some ridiculous thing. Like for me, I would feel like what is my business with someone from uh Ghana or Ethiopia or something. I'm from Nigeria. I'm telling you, I'm from Nigeria. Ethiopia and Nigerian is not the same. That's also the perception they have. Nigeria is a very rugged country. It's a very weird. You can't explain it, and you can't explain Nigeria basically. It's so rugged. It's so weird. So fucked up. Corruption. So how can you be creating that misconception, that false narrative of saying Africans live in trees, and we're talking about corruption in Nigeria, and then uh, that's one of the things, how people don't have jobs, and how people go to finish schools and they don't have jobs in Nigeria. So there is a false narrative in there, and a lot of them don't know this, and this is one of the reasons they say, you know, traveling is actually part of education. It's not about you knowing how to times and plus in school. That they don't teach you shit. You don't know nothing. You are not educated.